Hi, I'm back. Told you I'd be back. Also, this okay, speed up function will affect everything but oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I might have to pick this game up. So, all right. So hear me out. I need to talk about these games cuz I've been thinking about this a while at work last night, and this shit doesn't make sense. All right? This story makes zero fucking sense. Like, so hold on. So to do this, I need to get some background. Oh yeah, I can see that. So here's the thing. I'm going to start with 02 because that's where you get CL's sort of lore computer, right? So I'm going to go up to... I'm going to talk about the beginning of Mega Man, like the events that lead up to Mega Man 0, the story of 01, then 02, which kind of things make no fucking sense. Alright? So I need to get... I don't need to play the game very much. I just need to get to CL's like lore computer. So to do this, I just need to... Hold on. I need to... Because I'm still playing the game. Oh, never mind. Nope, everything's good. Wait, what? No, it's not. What? Why is the controls weird? There we go. So I just need to speed run through this. Nothing terribly dangerous. Wait. So, okay. Need to just kill this idiot. These guys are probably the hardest enemies because the hitboxes are wonky at best. Oh, okay, bye. Just need to speed run it. Can I skip this? No, I can't. This box is kind of a joke. Anyway. B, that's fine. I don't really care. Shut up. I just need to get to the lore computer. I need to refresh myself on a few things. So this part makes no sense. So this part is weird. Hey, Harperia. An Aztec Eagle. So this event right here doesn't quite make sense to me. I'd like to skip this, please. So, funny thing is, so they remastered the soundtrack for the Zero games. And, this song here has lyrics. Oh, these characters do have sprites. Huh, it's the only time we ever see them. So this song has lyrics, and it's a full-on, like, anthem for the Resistance. And it's the most triumphant fucking sounding song you've ever heard. Which is hilarious, considering when they finally do attack Neo Arcadia, the entire Resistance army gets wiped out in under 5 minutes. Like, under like 5 minutes, the entire army's just fucking gone. And then after I read this, I'm going to be going back to the overarching collection menu and going to the concept art to bring up pictures of things I'm talking about instead of just singing the game. Just for a little bit of a slideshow presentation, all right? And you know, as I'm talking, feel free to like butt in and give thoughts or answer questions I have or what have you. But there's a reason why I went to 0-2 and not 0-1. Because 0-1 is actually pretty self-contained. It's solid. There's really no inconsistencies or problems with 0-1. Except for the ending, kind of. And the ending only makes sense. The ending only stops making sense. The ending only stops making sense Toriyama. Oh, shut up. Ellipso, you're a piece of shit. Ellipso, you're an idiot. Don't care, I want to go to CL's lore computer. Is her lure computer not active yet? So yeah, this actually does... I don't know. Because the problem is the king's already kind of a meme. Like, it's really hard to, like, make the king more memey than he already is, you know? Not for God's sake. Okay, so what triggers the CL's lore computer to activate? Do I have to do this shit? Yeah. Ellipso's retarded. No. So can I talk to her? Do I have to go on a mission to do this, or can I just... Okay, yeah, excellent. Do you want to know? Yes. So, Maverick Wars. The Maverick Wars were started by the Sigma virus. So this is Megaman X. So the Maverick Wars were created by the Stigma virus, which terrified the world. Eventually, the Maverick Wars turned into everyone misusing the power of the Cyber Elves. Thanks to X, the evil Cyber Elves have been deleted. No further information can be found. The Cyber Elf is a program created to support humans and Reploids. The Cyber Elf has its own will and can talk. However, once it is used, it perishes. Okay, well, never mind. I thought this would be a little bit more fruitful than it was. Well, shit. Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning. So, in Megaman X, where can I find a picture that's good about this? Where's a picture of, like, X? I guess Phantom that was never finished? But okay, so here's how we're going to do it. So, in the lead up to Megaman X 0, there's a war going on, conflicts having problems, and then CL is the character that triggers this whole thing. This whole mess. So CL, she is the creator of Copy X here. Because the actual X, well, we see him in 02. He's connected to the vault that has the Dark Elf sealed away. Right? Which was this colossal threat that was originally supposed to, like, save humanity, but then was actually just, you know, was showing signs that it could instead wipe out humanity. So they're like, this is a dangerous. X defeats it, seals it away, sacrifices himself. No problem. So with this future problems, like humans are having problems, Reploids are having problems, so CL creates Copy X. Now Copy X is essentially a pirated version of X. Now, CL presumably is a human from Neo Arcadia. So in order to undergo a project of this caliber, to recreate the hero of old, the one that sacrificed himself to sort of preserve humanity, CL, prior to the events of 01, would have had to be either a high-ranking scientific official in herself, or a sort of renegade scientist who did this all behind closed doors. Now, CL, if you like, you know, following her character, how she conducts herself, the former seems more likely, that she was given sort of proper approval, proper permission to undergo this project by whatever government structure Neo Arcadia has. And so she does. And Copy X here is basically just X, but a little bit more German, shall we say. And I don't just mean the whole, I don't necessarily mean the Hitler-esque Reploid Holocaust that Copy X tries to do. I mean more in the fact of Copy X is just normal X, but Copy X is basically X, but if you take X's like beliefs and ideals to their logical extremes. So, what was X originally in the X games? Well, X was a kind of like this savior of humanity and a maverick hunter. Now, take those to their extremes and put him in the situation that he would have found himself in, where humans are struggling to sort of survive because energy is at a shortage. And so you're looking at the situation going, okay, I need to preserve humanity. Well, humanity is suffering. Why are they suffering? Energy shortage. Well, humans need energy. Reploids take energy. Therefore, Reploids are a threat to humanity just on virtue of them existing. Therefore, because they're a threat to humanity, because all Reploids are a threat to humanity, therefore all Reploids are mavericks. Therefore, the correct course of action is to, well, effectively genocide the Reploids. Now, the logic does follow. And so, in his own warped, twisted way, Copy X is kind of justified in what he does. Or at least you can, not necessarily that he is justified, in the fact that there are justifications that you can make for his position. Now, this is a problem, which, lots of Reploids just, flee, escape. CL goes with them on the grounds of, yeah, she probably has a conscience and went, oh god, I'm ushering in the genocide of Reploids. Now, keep in mind, these are Reploids. We're not talking Mega Man Classic era, where classic Mega Man, Proto Man, Base, all the Robot Masters in those games, whilst they are robots, not Reploids. They operate off of code and programming. Like, they're basically moderately more intelligent versions. They're operating off of moderately more intelligent versions of, they're basically operating under what is essentially, ChatGPT levels of complexity, but, ChatGPT in, a few years' time, right? Where they're intelligent, but not necessarily autonomous. So, the Reploids are different. The Reploids are essentially just another race entirely. The Reploids can think for themselves, feel for themselves, they have emotions, they have morals, they have beliefs and dreams of their own. They're essentially just synthetic humans, really, in how their minds work. They're not just sort of helpers and helpers and servers from the classic games. These are essentially people. You can't really make an argument that Reploids aren't people in this regard. But because they're different, because Reploids aren't human, Copy X takes the stance. Fair enough, I suppose. And then you have the Resistance, which are, the whole point of the Resistance in the first game is just, yeah, we just kind of want to survive and not be, massacred, which is, a reasonable stance to take. And so CL, with her group, tends to, seeks out Zero. And they find him. And, Zero and CL's goal is just sort of a lot of the missions in 0-1 are just, hey, we need to procure resources, or hey, we need to run a rescue mission, or stuff like that. Very basic, self-preservation style stuff, right? Until Zero kind of Well, one thing I want to talk about too, before I go further, is the standard enemies. Where are they? Not you, not the resistance. They're just Reploids, right? I'm talking about, no, not the elves. These guys. So one thing, this is what I want to mention. So we have, where's my mouse at? Can I mouse? No, whatever. Can I? Where is my mouse? Can my mouse show up? Whatever. So if we see here in this diagram, well, what are the basic enemies? Well, the basic enemies are presumably, and looking at this, normal Reploids, right? Who have been sort of basically captured and forcibly controlled by this sort of face hugger like device. Or at least, or at the very least, some of them are. Now, are these just sort of autonomous drone soldiers? I think so. I think what happened here is sort of again, this is delving into my own little headcanon here, for lack of a better word, where what happened with the Neo-Arcadian forces is sort of a reverse Galactic Republic to Galactic Empire situation, where instead of going from clone soldiers to stormtroopers, we're essentially going from stormtroopers, which are these sort of propagandized, mind-controlled Reploids, to clone troopers, which are just sort of these drone soldiers, which is what we see predominantly. Now, how do you know what the difference is? You don't, really. The Reploids that were captured are basically indistinguishable from the autonomous ones, in the fact that they are long since, like, they are beyond saving. Like, killing them is a mercy at this point, right? So a lot of this is just sort of like self-preservation, guerrilla operations to protect the resistance. To protect the resistance, right? Just kind of, a lot of it just is like, hey, we would like to live, you know? So is this supposed to be Neo Arcadia? Like the city here? Like, that seems correct. Now, eventually, because, you know, Zero's like, okay, we're going to be doing this fucking forever. So, the end of the game is just Zero going, alright, to hell with this. I'm going to Neo Arcadia myself and putting an end to Copy X. Alright? And so he does. But before I continue again, I want to talk about the Guardians. The 4 Guardians. Phantom, Leviathan, Fafnir, and Harpuria. Now, presumably, these 4 were created after X. After Copy X. Because they kind of just live and die to his service. Right? So, they're sort of created, at least this is my interpretation. They were sort of created to be Copy X's sort of inner sanctum, sort of royal guard kind of thing, right? Because once Copy X was created, he kind of just assumed, presumably, at least this is kind of what it appears to be, is that he just sort of assumed a de facto ruler role of Neo Arcadia, which, by the way, Neo Arcadia is like the last bastion of humanity, right? So this is where all the humans are living right now. Now, Zero goes in, fights his way through a bunch of, like, presumably drone Reploids that are beyond help, or beyond saving, rather, or just drone soldiers, whatever. Fights his way to Copy X, defeats Copy X, but not only defeats him, because he defeats Fafnir, Leviathan, and he defeats Fafnir, Leviathan, and Harpuria. Phantom takes his own life to try and kill Zero after the fact. So Phantom is dead. Whereas Copy X... I have to get through the Alpha again. Whereas Copy X is actually dead. Like, he dies in that fight. Like, you kill him. And so, after the events, Zero gets transported, or Zero leaves, escapes, and then is transported... Do we have a good picture of this? No. I think the best picture is going to be, like, various enemies. Hold on. Yeah, the best picture is that he just kind of gets dumped out in the desert because he just kind of leaves. He doesn't get teleported back. And he loses contact with Resistance. And it's like, okay, we're going to continue on. And basically, CL and Zero kind of continue on like fighting against Neo Arcadia their own separate ways, right? But this doesn't make sense to me. Because with Copy X dead, no longer in the picture, why does Neo Arcadia, like, what sort of motivation does Neo Arcadia have? Well, it's not that sort of logic. I think they just didn't think this through. Because, well, after Copy X is killed, and Copy X presumably started the whole push for Reploid genocide. With him dead, why does Neo Arcadia still fight? Like, what reason does Neo Arcadia, presumably after Copy X is dead, well, the humans just reassume control? And, where the humans sort of propagandized that heavily into thinking that the Reploids, just by existing, are a threat to them. That's possible. That would be possible. Why? And maybe they saw Copy X as, a genuine hero and not a genocidal tyrant, right? Maybe the humans thought that, because that's something that's distinctly lacking in these games. Which is the human perspective on the situation. Because all of the main story players, the only human in the story, at least so far, is CL. And CL is kind of just hyper fixated on ending the conflict by creating sort of resource abundance, right? You don't really get to see, like, the Neo Arcadia human perspective. So, for all we know, Neo Arcadia could be anti-Reploid still. But again, it just doesn't make sense, really. And obviously, well, after Copy X just died, well, the Resistance got a huge sort of foothold, because if you just look at the difference between the bases of 1 and 2, the Resistance base between 1 and 2, the Resistance base in 1 was super kind of just ramshackle, hastily put together, kind of like a hidden outpost kind of deal. Whereas in 0-2, it's a pretty professionally built, competent base, right? They have a really decent flow of operations in 2. So that makes sense. Doesn't make sense. So I was thinking, yeah, he's absolutely Dokkan modding. So another thought I had was, well, okay, well, maybe the remaining 3 Guardians, being Harpuria, Fafnir, and Leviathan, well, maybe they took over for Copy X and sort of continued the war on his behalf. But judging by how their characters are in 2, that also doesn't make sense. Because if that were the case, because Harpuria, card was stuck in your head? That vaguely sounds familiar. But yeah, so, because that doesn't make sense, because Harpuria... I love corn! But yeah, okay, so Harpuria seems to be acting independently. Like, she's currently affiliated with Neo Arcadia still. Like, she's still a part of that sort of institution. Adventure Time... okay, yeah. Where... yeah, Harpuria is still affiliated with Neo Arcadia, but she seems to be operating independently from them because, you know, why would she not only spare Zero in the intro, but not only spare Zero, but actively bring him to the Resistance base so he can continue... yeah, fair enough. So that Zero can continue his sort of war against Neo Arcadia. Well, why would she do that if she didn't think that there was something rotten in Neo Arcadia herself? And Leviathan and Fafnir are kind of reduced to, like, sort of Sundari characters, as I'm pronouncing that correctly, where they're basically just, their entire character peer-to-peer rather than server-based. So, whereas, yeah, because Harpuria and, or not Harpuria, Leviathan and Fafnir, actually, now that I'm talking about Zero, too, hold on. Because Leviathan and Fafnir, really? Because Leviathan and Fafnir now, well, their whole entire characters are reduced to, hey, I want to fight Zero. It's always just about... That's hilarious. Where it's like their entire character has been reduced to... hold on. Like, their entire characters are just reduced to, I want to kill Zero. That's it. That's all that's going through these characters' minds. They don't really express any motivation or any sort of purpose in the story other than, I am a boss fight, right? Well, Harpuria at least seems to, at least has some agency still, which is why, you know, she saves Zero in the beginning because she could have just left him for dead or executed him herself, and in the ending area when you're chasing after Ellipso in Neo Arcadia, who's trying to revive the Dark Elf or free the Dark Elf, Harpuria's like, she failed, but she's actively fighting Ellipso. So Harpuria, it's weird. Like, she has a loyalty to the Resistance, or to Neo Arcadia still, clearly. But she has a loyalty to Neo Arcadia, but is sort of playing sort of subterfuge there, where she's not, like, if she was acting purely in Neo Arcadia's best interests, she would have murked Zero right there. If she killed Zero, then Ellipso, can I have a good picture of Ellipso? Then Ellipso would have gone through with his sort of full-on, like, frontal assault against Neo Arcadia, and like he did in the game, would have just been fucking wiped out. And that would have been the end. That would have been the end of the Resistance, and at best, they would have been back to their position in 0-1, where they're kind of just like an underground survivalist situation. Another thing that I have to question is, well, how big of an enterprise is Neo Arcadia? Okay, like how big of a enterprise is Neo Arcadia? Because one of the missions takes you directly to Antarctica for like to deal with the defense, the computers controlling the defense mechanism. And so, okay, going back to 0-1, well, where is Neo Arcadia? Well, I can tell you where it's not fucking Antarctica. That's where Neo Arcadia isn't. And as it turns out, there's a lot of space. There's a lot of like surface area of the globe between Antarctica and literally anywhere else. The closest place to Antarctica would be the southern tip of South America, which I don't think have deserts in their vicinity, which I don't think is particularly known for its deserts, which is one of the primary locations in 0-1. And you also kind of visit a similar area in 0-2. So I don't think it's in South America. So Neo Arcadia is sort of this, presumably, at least partially, globe-spanning entity. So the only thing that makes sense here is why 0-2... Excuse me. Why 0-2 is the way it is, and how, the war is still waging on, despite Copy X, who presumably started this entire war between human and Reploid, is dead. Harpuria, Fafnir, and Leviathan very clearly didn't pick up the mantle, because Fafnir and Leviathan don't seem to give a crap about the Resistance. They seem solely obsessed with Zero. And Harpuria is acting independently from both of them, actively aiding Zero. So, the one thing I wish, and honestly, this would shed so much light on everything, this would explain everything, this would clear up all of this, is the information that we're lacking. The distinct information that's lacking here is the lack of human perspective on the events that's going on. And so, yeah, and all this, in case you couldn't tell by now, I am a massive fucking lore nerd. I'm a colossal, lore autist. I love this shit. I love story, I love lore, I love world building, I love all these little, bullshit details and everything. So, I mean, if I wasn't, I wouldn't be ranting about this, But yeah, it's just why? So, why does Neo Arcadia, which is already established... I know. Why would Neo Arcadia, or by extension humans, because, it is established that Neo Arcadia is one of the last sort of bastions of human civilization, continue fighting as Reploids when it was Copy X who ordered the genocide, because presumably life in Neo Arcadia was a bit of a struggle. There's a bit of an energy shortage, probably laws in place to like limit energy usage, sort of like how some areas have. I mean, you're right. Because some places in the world have water restrictions where you can only use X amount of water because there's droughts or what have you, and we only have a limited amount of like fresh water or fresh usable water, so we need to kind of ration it, and that's fair. You can do that. But after Copy X is dead, and presumably at the end of 0-1, you could just say, Zero's out there just kind of cleaning up remnant forces, right? Like the armies and stuff that remain after Neo Arcadia, after X's death, right? So what would mean? So in order for the events to play out as they do, what would have to make sense is that the humans of Neo Arcadia wanted to continue the war, or at the very least, like the upper echelon sort of political class of Neo Arcadia wanted to continue the war, right? And they're basically waging a race war against human and Reploid. And so unless the propaganda of Copy X, or Copy X and like the things surrounding him and being like, oh yeah, the Reploids are why you're struggling, the Reploids are evil, pay no attention to that fact, pay no attention to the fact that I myself am a goddamn Reploid, right? Yeah, I'm becoming basically like mechanical Hitler in a way, because Hitler wasn't Aryan himself, but he was just like, oh, everyone not Aryan, super fucking subhuman, which is a very much a simplification of his point, but which is very much simplification of things, but my point comes across. So it's like, well, that's the only thing, because apparently, like, unless possibly, but yeah, we're getting into so far into headcanon territory that, like, I'm not sure there are answers for the questions I'm asking, right? Unless you interview one of the original devs, like the lead writer or whatever, and ask him, like, okay, what's going on here? Because what's the connecting tissue between this? Like, why is the war continuing after the genocidal dictator is removed, right? Hey, Zach. That's exactly it. The war continues because we need it to continue the war continues because we need it to continue because we got budget to continue more games. I don't even have Hyrule Warriors with me. That's my brother has that currently. But yeah, like realistically, that's probably the genuine reason. It's like, oh, we need this conflict to continue to sort of justify more games in the series, right? Fair, but as a lore autist, I'm not happy with that. I'm not satisfied with that sort of explanation. So, no. I need in-universe explanations for this bullshit. That's what I need. I need that to feel satisfied. Ooh, what emo is that? Ooh. That's what I need. So, again, the only thing that makes sense, at least in my mind, and feel free to give me your own theories on everything, is that the war continues between my artist is on. So, okay, the reason why I don't have any currently is because my artist is on vacation. Yeah, Nancy's currently on vacation so she's kind of And I said, like, and she's like, oh, and I remember, she was like, oh, don't worry about it. It's like, oh, I'll bring my laptop. I'll still work on it while I'm out. And I'm just sitting there like, look, no. I'm like, look, no, just enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your vacation. You deserve it. You do good work, right? So it's like, all right, whatever. I don't mind waiting on art. I'm patient. I'm not in a rush for anything. Whatever. My shit's good enough. I would like to improve it, but I'm not in a hurry. But anyway. Yo! No. Mate. No. No. Mate. Mate. My bro, I don't care I don't care that you're my brother. Nope. Get slapped, idiot. It's not okay, and I'll justify it. I'll justify it. It's not because he said like, oh, it's not because he said like, it's not because of like, oh, you said the bad Nazi word, because I fucking said it, right? I said it myself several times. It's more so like, no. If you're talking about Nancy, my like lovely artist, no. We're not having artist slander here. No, Nancy's great. No, we're not doing that. You deserve the full 600 seconds. I'm not untiming you out. You can sit there and think about what you've done. But yeah, going back to my original point, and feel free to give me your own like theories as to how the continuation from 01 to 02 makes sense. Because in order for this the connecting tissue here is that Neo Arcadia still wants this war, still wants the end of Reploids, right? That there's no other reason, because why, so the question becomes, well, why? And the only answer that makes sense to me is because, presumably, because we don't actually see any of the humans, and it's not like the only person who even mentions the humans, really, is Ellipso. The only person who even mentions the humans is this idiot here. And he's genuinely on board with, hey, we need to genocide the humans because they tried to genocide us. Which is, that's only going to make things worse. Yeah, that's not going to solve any tensions, He looks like Sideshow. What the Mate, what do you think Sideshow Bob looks like? Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, he looks like Sideshow Bob, and the fact that he doesn't at all look like Sideshow Bob. Like, it's like, there's a lot of things you could say about his design. That's not really one of them, I don't think. But yeah, like, Ellipso's clear goal was to, destroy Neo Arcadia and presumably every human within it. Because he's kind of ass-mad about being a target for genocide, being a Reploid. And, you know what? Fair enough. I can understand why you'd be a little upset at this and want to, have a little bit of retribution against the people who wanted to literally erase you from existence. However, he fails. However, Ellipso and the Resistance, by extension, fails, and fails spectacularly. Because here's the course of events of the assault, right? Ellipso is like, Ellipso's like, okay, we're ready, we're gonna do the assault. So within within the time span of like a few minutes, and we're talking minutes, not hours, not days, minutes. Ellipso orders the attack, like Ellipso sounds the attack order, talks with Zero briefly, teleports out to join the soldiers on the front line, as a reasonable leader would, right? As a respectable leader would, okay. CL talks to Zero and is like, hey, you should probably go check up on him in case he does something fucking stupid. And then Zero teleports to the front gate of Neo Arcadia where they attacked. And by the time Zero teleports, which there's not a lot of time between these other options. Oh yeah, no, I need to play Tokyo Xanadu. But yeah, within the course of a few minutes, the entire Resistance army is fucking wiped. Like, destroyed. Ellipso with them. And that sort of triggers Ellipso's, like, villain arc of, I need to be better. I need to acquire ultimate power to destroy Neo Arcadia, destroy the humans. And in fact, the whole ending of the game is you trying to fucking stop Ellipso from destroying the humans. Right? So, it's not like the Resistance, or the Resistance Reploids, or at the very least the Resistance leadership outside of Ellipso himself, because CL has no ill will against... Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Where, you know, CL has no desire to genocide humans, because, well, that'd be a little weird because she's human herself. Zero clearly has a hatred towards Neo Arcadia as an institution, but Zero himself expresses no sort of hatred towards humans. The only character that does is this idiot. Everyone else is just kind of following his order, and just simply thinks, oh, that's the best course of action for Reploids. They don't. It's not necessarily like the regular soldiers, and even his two generals. See if I can find a picture of the two generals. Even his two generals here, well, they don't really express any, like, hatred towards humans either. They're just, again, following orders because that's what they think, because they're following Ellipso, and they think Ellipso has the best idea. Like, it's more of a... To everyone else, it comes across more as like a self-preservation stance, where it's like, okay, we need to kill the humans because they will kill us if we don't. But Ellipso is like, no. Ellipso's kind of like the spearhead of this sort of anti-humanist idea. And in fact, the entire ending where Ellipso kind of goes rogue, or goes Maverick himself, the whole thing is like, hey, we need to stop him because, you know, what if he does succeed and just tries to genocide humans, right? So yeah, Ellipso absolutely was in the wrong for most of it. Like, it's undetermined whether... But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Then there's also another point of, like, well, maybe Neo Arcadia didn't actually want us to continue the war, right? Because, you know, it's not like Neo Arcadia was weakened between the two, outside of losing Copyax, because, well, you know, they still have this, like, crazy weapon system, these crazy factories, power plants and stuff in 02 that you have to go to. But while Neo Arcadia is still at, like, relatively peak strength, the Resistance is able to become, like, super competent and capable. So, which means in order for that to happen, Neo Arcadia would have had to leave the Resistance alone for a degree, for a time. And Neo Arcadia only launches an attack against the Resistance after you've already sabotaged their defense systems, their power plants, and like various other like key infrastructure. So if anything, like unless there's stuff going on, but unless there's more things that went on, but in that year time span between 01 and 02, the assault on the attempted nuking of the Resistance base by Neo Arcadia is a purely sort of reactionary move. Because they're like, okay, because from their perspective, it could have been, okay, Resistance is causing problems for us to the level that we can't really allow them to continue to exist. Because, you know, crippling their defense systems and their power generation, well, yeah, that's pretty big, actually. That's pretty huge and should probably, and from Neo Arcadia's perspective, well, yeah, those are things that probably shouldn't go unpunished. So, technically, it's possible that in 02, well, the Resistance are the villains? Because I say villains loosely. I get this drive to want to sort of. But here's the thing, though. Why would CL allow this to continue unless it's just a pure lapse of judgment on her part? Because, well, she's a scientist, not a political figure, not a military. She's not a political leader. She's not a military leader. She's just a scientist, right? So, man, I hope. And I wanted to get this off my and again, I don't really have answers to everything. The answer is either the human. So basically, the connecting tissue between 01 and 2 is either, okay, Neo Arcadia, now presumably led by humans again, instead of Copyax, wanted to continue this war for reasons, because either they've been propagandized to the point where they still see Reploids as a existential threat in themselves, or B, the Neo Arcadia doesn't actually want to continue this war, but somehow has a bounty out on Zero still. But reasons, and it's actually Ellipso who's the villain for basically flaring up this war and his assault, and basically feeding into the sort of presumed fear that the humans would have had for Reploids. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I'm hungry, so I'm going to stop my rant now. Oh! Fish is healthy? I should get fish. There's a fish and chips place, like, just across the street. I should go there. Actually, I would if Jess didn't make lovely dinner. But yeah. Anyway, I'm done. I've ranted for a solid fucking hour. A solid hour ranting about the connective tissue between 01 and 02 and how the fuck that makes sense, because there's no real explanation as to why things are continuing after the events that transpired. So, well, this is all just speculation and man, fuck off.
Nerd.
Yes, I know. I spent an hour not playing a video game and instead talking about a video game. Because I'm an autistic lore nerd.
Yes.
I don't know, with that I'm ending. I'm hungry. This rant's all going on YouTube and I don't know. We'll see! We'll see.
Just brought you.
Nope. She just told me it was dinner.
I was.
Passed out?
What?
Passed out?
No, that was like an hour.
Yeah, I know, and I went on my autistic lore rant.
You gotta go.
I will. Anyway, take it easy.